How big are the dogmen that look like timber wolves compared to the one that looks like a werewolf?
So the one that looks like a werewolf is the one that my daughter sees and has seen since she was little outside her window. And I have seen that one, and we have a tree that's outside my daughter's window. The branch that he came up to is a little under 12 feet tall, but it's over 11 feet, this branch. And he comes up to that. And when she describes this one, its hands kind of pulse. Like, you know how when athletes or like, if you ever watch football and you see someone that's about to catch a ball and their hands or their palms are up and they're kind of, their fingers get twitchy. That's what this thing does. Its palms are up and it's twitchy. And this one, it looks, I think because I can see its skin, and the buffness, like it has no body fat. This one looks bigger to me than the other ones. Its head is bigger. Oh God, its mouth, its snout is shorter. Its mouth is, its muzzle, like the muzzle part is shorter, but the head is just, it's huge. And it looks like, you know, when dogs crinkle their nose, its whole nose looks like it's permanently crinkled. Like, kind of like a bat. If you look at a bat and its nose is kind of crinkly, that's kind of what this thing looks like, where it doesn't, I haven't seen it where its nose is relaxed and where it doesn't have crinkles. And its mouth always seems to be open, like, yuck, when I guess like when a bat, it looks like it's sniffing and it can't close its mouth. That's what it look. I've never seen its mouth closed, and it has, God, like, just, its teeth are just disturbing. It's just like daggers. Honest to God, it's just like daggers, and it's like, unlike the other ones where their teeth look like, it looks like they have the, now maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like it has the normal amount of teeth that a dog would have, but they're just pointy. They're not flat. This thing looks like it has way too much teeth for its mouth. It looks like rows of teeth. Like, it looks like it has rows of teeth. Like a lamprey. You know how lampreys have like rows of just teeth? That's what it looks like to me when I see this thing. It doesn't look normal. It aside from nothing at all about it looking normal, its teeth do not look normal. It doesn't look like a normal dog's mouth. It doesn't look like any kind of mouth that I've ever seen. It looks like it's got like too much teeth. Like, I don't know if I am like, in your brain when you look at something and there's like so many teeth there that they're just overcrowded. Like if someone needs braces and they have overlapping teeth, I don't know if that's what's going on. And in my mind, I'm just making it seem like they've got rows of teeth, but it seems to me like they've got, like, this thing has rows of teeth. It looks like nothing on God's green earth that I could even compare it to. And it's got like just these ears that look like, God, almost like, almost like in the movie Dracula, where Gary Oldman turns into like a vampire, these pointy ears that are on the side of its head. It's not like a dog or like the other ones where the ears are on top of the head. They're on the side. And with this thing, I don't even know. I don't know. This, out of everything that I've seen here, and I've seen a lot, this is the one thing that I wish I could unsee, and the thing that I wish would leave it and just go away, or just go away, because it is just the most frightening thing that I've ever seen in my life. It it's just it it's like something that it's I hate to say it because it hasn't harmed us, and I feel bad saying it, but it's almost like it's an abomination. It does not look like anything that should exist. I can't imagine nature making this thing. Like, I don't know how it came about into existence, but it's almost like something that was, I don't think that they're manufactured. I don't think that there's some kind of a clone or anything like that. But it's almost like if you got crazy people together that were mean and trying to scare people, that's what they'd come up with. It's huge, it's tall, it 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 taps on windows. I mean, it's been in my daughter's life as long as I can remember. I remember in the first interview that I did with you, I would tell you that she would tell me that this thing wanted her to come out and play. And I would say, well, aren't you scared? Well, no, I'm not scared. It just looks like it looks different. Or when she figured out like what werewolves were, well, it looks like a werewolf, but it's not scary. And I see this thing and I think, if I feel off in any way, I do not want to go outside my house, because I fear that this thing is going to just pop up. And, you know, it's like, the jump scares. I feel whenever I feel anxious or anything, I honestly feel like I'm going to get jump scared, because I've had that feeling and I've had this thing in a window. It's not pleasant. And it, like I said, it doesn't look like it's not capped. Like, it doesn't look oily, that its hair doesn't look oily, and the skin doesn't look oily or anything like that, but it's just sparse. It doesn't have a full head of hair like how we do. It has sparse hair, and it has sparse hair on its shoulders and on its back. And on its back, it's got like a hump. The hump is like, kind of like if you see the movie The Hulk, where he's so, and it's not that muscular. It's not buff like the Hulk muscular, but it's almost like it's got an extra muscle there. Like, it doesn't look like in some animals, like bears, they have a hump, but it's fat. This is like a muscle. I don't know if it's because when they go on all fours, they use that muscle like at the base of between their skull and their back. I don't know if it has some kind of a unique function, but it's a muscle, and it is like a ripped back hump muscle. It's strange. There just is nothing about this thing that looks normal. It looks like everything about it is designed for ambush, for stealthiness, for predation. And the thing that makes it just so like, even though they haven't hurt us, it makes it very scary, is that they are smart. They are very, very smart. I think that because they've been watching us for so long, they know our habits. They know which room is whose. And they tap, like, I have a big California king, and they tap the window that I sleep next to. And that same window that I sleep next to is the same window where they left like a pile of guts when all this first started happening. They left this massive, massive pile of guts by that window. And it just is, even though I remember you saying, well, maybe it's like a gift because it's a delicacy. It's something that animals like to eat guts. It's nutritious, and that's like what animals like. It's still, that is like, oh, even though it was like, I did think about that after you told me that was like a gift. And even though it's like, why can't I have like unicorns and fairies living on my property? Why do I have to have this thing that leaves me gifts? Why can't I have a leprechaun that leaves me gold, or a unicorn that at least lets me ride it and leaves like stardust or something? Instead, I have, like, I guess it's a good burglar deterrent, but geez, I just think like, why me? Why me? But like I said, it sure keeps things interesting here. But it just is it's just a very bizarre thing that we've got going on here. And I see that one by the outhouse the most. Thank God I see that one the most, because that one just, out of all of them, this particular one, I get just a more congenial feeling. So I'm glad that out of all this, that I see that one the most. And I do feel like they watch out for us. I do feel like they protect us, because I've told you that we've seen other things on our property too that are a little more disturbing to me than that. And I like to think that between the Sasquatch and the Dogman, that they are helping us in some way, or at least that they help balance things out from other things. And in all this, I do know that the Sasquatch would never hurt us. And they have given us, they still will leave us little gifts. And I don't know, they've left us scarves and hats and plastic flowers. And I joke with Lily that we could never wear the hats or the scarves in public, because it could be someone from the community and they'll think that we stole them. But with them around, I just know that if they have an amicable relationship with these things, that they would never let anything harm us. I know that. I know that they would never let anything harm my daughter. They would never let anything harm me, my brother. So I just have to play like a logical game within myself and just tease it out logically, like, well, even though I feel this way, it's a feeling. It's not how they're acting. Actions speak louder than words, and they've done nothing to harm us. They've done nothing but show curiosity. They have destroyed some things, but it sounds nuts. But I went out and I laid down the law and told them that that's not acceptable, and really just let them have it. They haven't done anything. Nothing else has been destroyed, believe it or not. When I laid down boundaries and told them to knock it off, sometimes I wonder if It's just that how some people give off weird vibes. Maybe they just give off weird vibes because of just how they are. And that it's maybe my problem that I need to get over, because their actions are that they won't hurt us, that they do things that are beneficial to us, that they give us gifts, even if it is a pile of guts. They didn't harm that little kitten. They haven't harmed my dog. My dog likes to go out and will come back like 45 minutes after I let him out at night, exhausted. So I know that somebody's playing with him, and he'll have handprints. So, and they'll do things like, I can tell the difference. It sounds nuts, but both Sasquatch and Dogman do things where they interweave trees and branches. And I can tell the difference because the Sasquatch, when they interweave stuff, they tend to, at least here, they tend not to break a branch when they weave it. It's all fluid and just bent. And the Dogmen, when they weave things, it'll be bent. And it's kind of like the messy kid in class, where it looks like someone just did it helter-skelter, and it'll be bent and broken, and there'll be pointy ends to it and stuff. But with the Sasquatch, it's like they take pride in what they do, and it's bent and it's really pretty. But with these things, it's kind of like they're just, how you say, there aren't any soft edges to them. There aren't any soft edges to how they do things with trees and branches too. So we'll see new, like, tree breaks. The Sasquatch, when they don't even break it, they'll just bend it and weave it. And the branches will be like 8-10 feet tall, 10 feet up the tree. And with these things, it's like it's bent, it's snapped, but not broken completely off and wrapped around a tree. But it's not smooth. It's all like broken so that it looks angular. It's just weird. They're just a very, very different thing. But like I said, they haven't hurt us. They haven't hurt our animals. And they just seem to be very, very curious. And for whatever reason, they just want us to know that they're here. And they show themselves to us quite regularly, even though at times I wish they wouldn't. But that's pretty much what's been going on around here.
I want you to understand, Robin, that, yeah, I get it. That one that looks like a werewolf is so terrifying to look at. But when you consider how long you've been there and it's been there, if it really wanted to frighten you, it would have gone about things in a totally different way. That Dogman that looks like a werewolf, he knows how terrifying he looks to you. And everything you're telling me about him tells me that he's being mindful about that. You said you saw him looking in the window that one time, but I think that was probably an accident. What I'm getting at here is they know how to push our buttons. They know what to do to send you over the edge with terror. And the fact that you haven't had one single experience like that with that particular Dogman, that tells me that he's being very mindful about not putting himself in a situation, or you in a situation like that, where it is going to send you over the edge. What I'm getting at here is there was a poor woman who was solo camping way out in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember if it was the Sierra Nevadas. We're talking probably 5 years ago or so since I got all the details on this. But she was solo camping in the middle of nowhere in a tent that wasn't really a pup tent, if I remember right, but it was one of the tents where it's closer to the ground. Well, late one night, in the middle of the night, she had to go out for a pee break. So she threw her clothes on, or whatever she needed to put on, and then unzipped the door of the tent. And as she was coming out of this tent, as she stood up and was coming to her feet, she came nose to nose with a Dogman like what you're talking about. So, yeah, her light was right in its face, nose to nose. Now, you tell me how that's going to affect you when you have an experience like that. So, the fact that you haven't had any experiences approaching that after all these years when it's been around, you've been there, it's been there. That tells me that, like I said, it's showing a lot of caution, making sure that it doesn't put itself in a situation where you could have an experience like that and almost lose your mind with terror. So it's not an easy situation to be in, but understand it could be a lot worse. At least that dogman is showing a lot of restraint, and he's not pushing the issue to try and terrify you to within an inch of your life. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And that's why you just articulated perfectly the reason why I feel bad and made me understand more my emotion, because I do feel this sense of guilt whenever I feel scared, because I do, even though sometimes it's hard for me to think that way, I do realize that they could hurt us and that it could be worse. And also that, like you said, if they wanted to scare me, they could. And that they're being extremely respectful of my boundaries and of what I can handle mentally. And it does, it's not going to make sense to people who don't experience this, but it does make me feel bad. It makes me feel really bad that I feel this way, because in a way I feel like it hurts their feelings that people respond this way when they are trying to be very, very respectful. And like they show themselves, this one particular one shows itself to my daughter, and to her, it's just no big deal. And like she told me, don't judge someone by how they look. It's how they act. And she's just not afraid. And then it makes me feel terribly guilty for feeling frightened, even though I think that it's a very human thing and very normal to feel that way. But Vic, that's kind of one of my goals, is to get to a point where I won't feel that way, where I'll be okay with seeing them, because I think that it makes me think what could open up and how things would change if I didn't feel that way, how things might be different.
Well, you are human after all. You've only got so much control of your emotions and how you feel about things. I hope you can do something about that, but if you can't, don't be too hard on yourself. What kind of leg structure does that dogman that looks like a werewolf have? Like a canid or a hominid?
No, it's canid. My daughter said that she has seen something that has, like, she called it like legs like a man, but I have seen just the canid legs. I think the closest the thing that I saw, there was one that we saw going across that did not have a tail, and it was far away, but I'd have to say that with that one, I'm not sure, because the way that it was moving, it definitely was not moving like a dog would move, or like I've seen the others move. It moved funny. It didn't look like it had canid legs, but it was so far away that I couldn't tell. But just from the motion, that one I question. But I have not seen legs that look like a hominid with the ones that I've seen standing. But my daughter said that she has.
I'm going to elaborate on this after we finish the interview here, but you have actually seen one that's got hominid style legs. Anyway, like I said, we'll get into that after we finish up the show here.
Okay.
But moving on, do you only see that freaky looking dogman at nighttime, or have you seen it during the daytime too?
No, only at night. The ones that I see during the day are the ones that look like timber wolves. And actually, they're really pretty. I mean, they're beautiful, and they just look, they're beautiful. But that one I only see at night. The one that we saw going across our field, it was so far away, Vic, that I couldn't tell if it was furry or if it was skin. But I'd have to say that because that thing, the freaky looking one that I've seen in the window, I know it doesn't have a tail. And the thing that we saw going across the field did not have a tail. But it was so far away that I couldn't really make out if it was, I didn't see dog ears on it. So maybe that was it. Maybe we did see it during the day. But my daughter has seen it during the day. They're nondescript with time when they show themselves to her.
It sounds like it. Do you have any concerns about unexpected side effects that might come along with your daughter growing up interacting with beings that aren't even supposed to exist?
I don't. The reason being that I think it would be different if we didn't have friends that came over and had these experiences. And she does have a little friend that she's had her whole life who has seen them and who we talk with about it because she's seen them and she has experienced them, and I couldn't lie it away. So she does have friends that have seen it, people her own age. And we do have adults, my friends, who have seen and experienced everything that we do here. I think that those two elements keep her grounded and keep her as, quote, normal as she can be. She's known from a very young age not to talk about it at school, not to talk about it with people, that this is just something that we keep quiet. And she understood why. And yeah, I mean, she's not affected by it. I even had a friend who was a psychologist come out, and she experienced it, and she's a child psychologist. And she was explaining when she was really young that you can't talk about this because people will think that there's something wrong. And she said, but you can always talk to me about it. So that helps. So I've always tried to have people around us that are accepting and who can help me teach her how to be and why it's not okay to talk about. And I think because she has so many healthy outlets for it, that she's okay that way.
Well, don't lose sight of the fact that she's so precocious for being 12. That's got to help tremendously also.
I think precocious is an understatement. It's true.
Yeah, I'd say so. Too precocious for her own good.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, it's about time for us to get out of here, Robin. But before we do you have any closing comments you'd like to share?
I do. What I would like to say is to people who have had very negative encounters that my heart goes out to you, and I'm very sorry that you've experienced these things in a very negative way. And to people who maybe have had an encounter and haven't had the courage to talk to you, that it's very therapeutic. I cannot thank you enough, because even though before we came on, I said, I had anxiety. I thought, I hope I have something interesting to say. I hope that I have something to say. And when you're talking with someone like you who has so much knowledge about this type of a situation where you have just the bizarre going on at your house, or if you've seen something that's very unusual, just talking about it and knowing that you understand and that you are not someone that you talk to and you question the person's authenticity, that you support, and even the most bizarre things you say, well, I have heard about that. It is just so cathartic to talk with Vic. So if you've had anything happen, please call. You won't regret it. It's very therapeutic, even for me, who has had this going on for 10 years. It still helps me to talk to Vic about it. So thank you for being you, Vic.
You're welcome. I just feel lucky to be in a position to help eyewitnesses in the first place. Makes me want to pinch myself. But having said that, Robin, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing those experiences with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Vic.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks again so much. Have a great night.